few of us. Hello.
Hello. No, I'm sorry, but I am in Madrid. I am in Madrid these days, and the connection that I have in the apartment that I rented is really bad.
I have nostalgia of Madrid.
Here I have a very good connection. So yeah, maybe I don't know. Ursula confirmed confirmed her participation, but it's not there. It's important that we can have with us Ursula, because Ursula last days worked on a new proposal about the method. You know, this session is dedicated to the method, civic design method, and Ursula suggested an interesting update, but maybe she had some problem, because I can see that she is not connected. So instead, maybe we can start with some general updates. So as we have with us Anna, what do you think, if you can share with us how is going on in Barcelona and what you are doing? I know you had... okay, Ursula is joining.
Hello everyone, sorry.
Hello.
Hello.
I'll put the microphone, the headsets on. Just a second.
Okay.
Okay, I'm there. Hello.
We were just waiting for you because. Yeah.
Oh my God, sorry.
No problem. So Anna, maybe we start with the method, and after that we talk about Barcelona Circle. Okay.
Okay.
So Ursula, I suggest start with you and with your about the method and your proposal.
Yes, let me open the document. So we've got it, and I can also send you the link. Sorry, this course. Did you have the chance to have a look at this course where I posted the link? So basically, last week we met with the London Circle. Okay, where can I? Okay, here. So I'm posting the link on the chat, so you can open the document and we're looking at it together. Yeah, so we had a chat and we felt the need of having, like, working parallel to the whole work we're doing with your, like, setting up the organization and the platform and the community, to have some kind of tangible tool to, you know, take the conversation further and have something to work on. And we created a sort of simplified version of the 10 steps method that we already have, where we kind of draft out how a project looks like, and in the different phases, and what the outcome of each phase is. And what that will help us is identifying for each phase what, for example, the resources are, and that could be a useful starting tool for every single circle, because this is kind of a template that could apply for any local area, any project, but it would be useful if every circle, local circle, could then sort of apply it for the local, like for that territory. For example, if we look at the document, and we look, so let me explain first of all in general. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, I think, but basically, so the project maps, so the scheme maps a project from, you know, the question mark of, oh, imagine like someone wants to, you know, get active in the neighborhood, but they don't have any idea, they don't have any project yet, they just think, oh, I would love to do something for my area. So it covers from that stage, like what does the neighborhood need, up to the post-delivery of the project. And the stages are, so in the first stage, the listening means trying to identify in a very collaborative approach what the area needs. So I think Fausto in his engagement toolkit mentioned the listening as, you know, this phase where people in, you know, like project promoters go around and trying to understand what the area needs. Then the outcome of that is the definition of what the issues are, what the problems are, or, for example, we were talking today with Domenico about an empty building that there is in a neighborhood nearby him in Paris. So that's a classic example of, after you go around, you identify, oh, there is this kind of problem, gap. The next stage is the stage where you try to brainstorm. Yeah.
No, I would like to comment something.
Yeah.
Because we've been working today in the Barcelona Circle fundamentally in this stage.
Okay.
Okay. So, and we had some doubts in this stage that we are working now. Analysis that is then for this phase, for the listening phase, we have several doubts about how do we listen. I mean, because obviously we can analyze the situation, we can analyze data, we can analyze facts in the past, but we weren't really sure if we are, as let's say, part of the CivicWise method, considering all of them or some of them will be excluded. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I might not be the best one to answer this question. Unfortunately, Fausto is not there, but he would be probably the best one. What my take on these is, and that's his job. I put under the resources. So under the resources, I just put some examples. In this case, there is community organizer, and from what I understood from Fausto, community organizers are these people that, because they're trained to engage with people on the street, they go around, they just, you know, have the empathy to understand by talking to people or just observing. There is a lot of field research, but also talking to people, and it's not rocket science. There are probably people who prefer doing it in a way or the other, but it's their, you know, open-mindedness, I think, to try to gather data which are not necessarily spelled out. But I don't know if anyone else has anything to add to that.
So, for example, one thing that was mentioned in the meeting yesterday was why don't we go as a part of this research through the town hall budgets to have a look to what problems that they have already found they already have some budget approved for them, apart from the other analysis. That was just an example of the kind of things that were mentioned yesterday, apart from listening and doing this kind of analysis. So we have a huge debate, for example, about this point, you know, because they also, I mean, not about, okay, how we discover problems, but how do we act about problems that have been already discovered by the town hall, for example. Do we consider that kind of problems or not?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting, it's really interesting what you say, because it also came out of the conversation last week, which is obviously there will be projects that come at very different stages. So for example, the example you just mentioned would be a project that basically steps in at the idea stage, because there is already an idea of how to do it, and it's from, for example, a local authority. It doesn't have to be necessarily the project promoter. This is kind of like a basic structure that covers the entire spectrum, but the project can step in at any of these stages, and obviously you will concentrate on only the stages left and not the previous ones.
Okay. Okay, I understand. Okay.
This is like what I should have mentioned is that this is just a draft that we wrote down, but it's a under construction process. So I put it up because we could, if you feel like there is anything missing, or we could call it differently, or something with the 10 steps that we haven't included yet, let's edit it, tweak it, hack it, so that by the end of this session we're happy with the result, and we have a refined, like more improved version of the draft. Okay. Right. So yeah, go on, Domenico.
Anyway, I want just to add something.
Yeah.
Yeah, just something. I think in general, we since the beginning, when we started talking about our methods or any protocol, the idea is that it's just a suggestion. It's just a reference. It's not something we have to follow very strictly. So I say what I mean is if we put the listening part at the beginning, if locally you find that it's not interesting or it's useful to skip this phase, it's up to you. Our approach, I think, is very open, because personally I don't trust a closed recipe. I mean, a closed protocol, doing all the time in any situation the same. It's just a guide. It's a suggestion, and after that, in any occasion, we can change our approach. We can maybe change the order sometime.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I think one really important aspect is that obviously some of the things that we put down are very specific of the UK system, like the neighborhood forum, which might not exist in other realities. Or it might be that you have to go through different checklists. So all these resources are just ideas of categories, but obviously what the local circle will do as soon as they get together will be reviewing these template, this toolkit, and adapt it to what their experience is for the local area.
Yeah, because for example, one of the doubts that we have about Barcelona for this phase was that in Barcelona, I don't know if you know, that this year the town hall created a website which is called Open Data Barcelona, where you have all the data of the citizenship daily life for analyze, whatever you want to analyze. And of course, this is a kind of way of finding a problem that is not, let's say, at the very first phase, including the citizenship opinion, let's say. It's a different analysis. Sorry, also because I interrupted you again.
No, please do, because you know, it's all very clear to us, but who did it. But it, you know, if you have anything to add, please do interrupt. Don't keep it till the end.
Because we are starting trying to find projects now in Barcelona Circle. We really want to be sure that at the very first phases we are not contradicting the method, you know, that we are doing it properly.
No, but for example, in your case, if you have, so just to talk in practical aspect, you probably through that website, you might have already ideas there. So your idea might be the starting point, and then, you know, you could flip, for example, the listening and the brainstorming. So you will have first the brainstorming, then the listening, and then the engagement. Or it could even be that the engagement is already done because people through forums, wherever, they already expressed interest in joining the project, or they already joined the project, and then you will have maybe the listening afterwards. I don't know, that's something that only the local circle or even people involved in the project might be able to tell. And that's why it's important, as Domenico, I think, said, that this is a loose structure, that we kind of agree on a method, but then we keep it flexible enough to adapt it, because we don't want to end up in a situation where we just want to follow it very strictly, and that will stop from, you know, concentrating on the actual project. It has to become a useful tool, not something that slows us down. I think.
Okay.
I think that also it can be represented as a circular system.
Yeah.
It can be maybe more helpful, because linear, it seems that you have to follow a time schedule or something like that, or a kind of sense of the process. If it's kind of circular, you have more freedom to understand what you need or how to follow the
path. I agree. You're right. I mean, I'm really not a big fan of PowerPoint either, so just put it together.
I know that it's just a sketch for
now. Yeah.
It's obvious that
it all started literally like that on paper. And I was trying to put it in a way that we could all work together. But no, I agree that the circle, I also prefer the idea of seeing it as a loop, because actually the last pass of the so after the engagement, we have, I'll go very, very quickly. So after the idea, then there is the engagement, which is pretty much the phase we are now for CivicWise, where we get people involved and we try to define what the actual project is. Because you might, for example, going back to the example of the empty building, you might have an idea of how to use it, but that it's not a project, a defined project yet. It's just, you know, some kind of ideas, but you don't have people involved, you don't know what resources you need. So the project is where you actually have an action plan and you know what you're going to do. And then the implementation is the actual deliveries, where you do the works or whatever is needed. And then the last phase, which is a very important phase, and that makes sense, as you were saying, Saverio, that it's a circle, is what happens next. What is the impact that it created, but also what learning experience that could feed into other projects has the project created, which can be very useful, for example, for grants, because we can prove how CivicWise is helping, you know, the industry or the citizens to do better project, you name it, and it could also be the starting point of another project. So if it's a circle, it will express it probably more clearer. Yeah, so that's pretty much the structure. What you see in orange is more like a detailed list of things that for that specific local area are useful. we just put down a couple of them, but obviously it's up to every circle to identify, especially if there are some bureaucratic, you know, information, or it could be also very practical information like contacts, people to talk to, stakeholders, anything. Yeah, so basically what you get at the end of that is mapping not just the process and the different stages, but also useful things to do. And the final outcome of this conversation was also an action plan where so far when we, I don't know, probably all of us have been in conversation with other people about CivicWise and what we're doing. And by having this kind of first draft, when we are in conversation with people, we can also approach them and saying, ask them, for example, for their work, in what kind of stages of civic projects have they got involved. So, for example, if you're talking to local authorities, you might ask them, oh, do you actually do some work in you know, helping communities in finding ideas for, you know, wasted lands? Yes. What are the difficulties you experience? And by collecting all this information, at the end of this process, we'll be able also to know what kind of useful tools we shall start to prioritize to create. So, for example, if we know that local authorities really struggle in identifying what the issues in the areas they cover are, we know that once we develop that toolkit, or we have some, you know, structure to help communities finding that, we can go back to the local authorities saying, oh, actually we have a solution for your problem, and we might be able to, you know, negotiate partnerships or collaborate with them, whatever. And we could do that for any type of person we talk to, whether they are, you know, experts in the industry, they are just people, residents in an area, local authorities, universities, all the stakeholders of the CivicWise and ecosystem. Does that make sense?
Yeah. For me, yes.
Any comment or question?
For me, it makes perfect sense, because that was exactly one of the points that we were mentioning in the meeting yesterday, that it was quite urgent for us, because as we really would like to start looking for real projects, beta projects, we really need to introduce ourselves, let's say, fast, in kind of a way you have just mentioned, Ursula. You know, we are this is what we do, we have a solution for your problem, we have blah, blah. So this is one of the things, when I saw this document today, it was perfect, because it was one of the things that we were saying that it was quite urgent to be able to present.
I'm glad, because it was also what made the London Circle work on it, because we also had the exact same feeling of urgency. So that's good.
So
Andrea doesn't have a microphone? No microphone.
He just wrote a long message on the chat.
Yeah, I saw that.
We don't accept this, Andrea. Totally. Okay.
Andrea, do you want to explain what you are writing on the chat?
Okay, should work now.
Yeah.
I have a little connectivity issue with my USB. Hello to everybody, good evening. So first of all, I'm sorry, I missed the introduction part, so I missed big chunk because you also was referring to something that I missed, so sometimes I was a little bit out of, so it might be that it's a bit already answered. So I try to consolidate without interrupting. First of all, I would like to say that indeed the value of tailoring a method towards the practical end case is absolutely the biggest part. Usually, it's also a way to make a project fail is to follow a method. So you take the method, you follow it, and you got it off track in a few weeks. So that's a certitude. So it's really important. My question was, it's nice when you have a comprehensive method to pick up the parts. So it's very handy when you want to tailor something that you have enough guidelines to choose from and to trash also. Well, just a personal note. I like to have a big method, and then I take, okay, in this case I want to apply this section only, because it does make the sense. And also all the other points help me to understand that they are not applicable and why. So while I discard them, it helped me a lot to say, oh, okay, this is not applicable. So within this operation, I usually get more acquainted with the project because I get to know it more. So because it's bidirectional in the tailoring, you choose what is applicable and you discard what is not applicable, and both are valuable, in my opinion, to get to know the project better. Well, that was the first point. I heard that Ursula mentioned templates. I was just curious, because I guess it's linked to the introduction. Ursula, can you help me? You mentioned you was in the toolkit is composed also of some further documents in the idea.
No, so the template word was because, so the idea is to have a very loose structure that could apply for any type of project in any area, but then every local circle will adapt it to the local ecosystem, environment, stakeholders involved. So this is a template, like the general one will be a template, because then everyone, like every circle, will shape it in, according to what their reality is.
Okay.
Because there will be quite consistent differences.
Yeah, I imagine. UK is already different.
Yeah, so for example, if you look, I don't know if you were there for that part, but if you look at in the orange part under the, where is it, brainstorming phase, there is the neighborhood forum, which is quite a specific type of community organization that's promoted by local authorities here in the UK. It might be absolutely, foreign to any other, so that's something, for example, that won't be mentioned for, Barcelona or Brussels.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, for example, what you mentioned about in your big message in point 5, when the thing about, I completely agree with you that little groups cannot manage big data. Okay.
Is Domenico making some home yoga thing?
Yeah, that was exactly mentioned the same way you say it in the meeting. So we were speaking about big data because in Barcelona town hall they have a group of people that is called Barcelona Digital that are already analyzing this kind of data. It's kind of a company that works basically only for the town hall. So one of the options that was proposed was, why don't we meet these people and just try to find out what kind of collaborations they might be interested. Meaning, why don't we let them know the kind of analysis from the data that we know that we will maybe useful for us for finding problems, and let's see how they want to collaborate with us about it. Because we were really worried about the resources. For example, the circle in Barcelona, at the moment we have 4. So, and we are four people obviously not working full time. So the resources first part of the first phase is kind of super tricky.
It's just me, or there is no anymore Anna?
Hello?
Okay, she's back.
Did you hear anything
You create an enormous suspense now. What you was what do we miss now?
I don't know. I was just speaking as if I am a professor, long and, and in an empty audience, I think.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's a nice point. What is my concern, or maybe better, what was my? So it's nice that all those cities open the data streams to the people. My main concern, I mean, my main hope is that this data can be parsed more easily. And it might be a perk or a very great offer if we can think about having some importing. Nowadays, technology make it more easy to offer internally. So it would be nice that the circle can actually browse the data in a meaningful way. Can be an anything, but it was a bit the fifth point for a reason, because it was a bit out of track.
The thing is that with the resources, for example, that we have in Barcelona now, we need to collaborate with someone to do it. It's completely impossible that we do that.
Yeah, no, obviously, but the main the idea is why we don't think, therefore, if this is a valuable point, why we don't think how we can offer this as actually a mean to the method, way to have the method is a way to listen somehow. Huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up on that because I think, for example, these open data. I mean, also here in the UK, there has been in the last couple of years loads of buzz around opening up data and what that created. I think the open data movement and all the institutions that open the data or organizations that promote that could be a really important stakeholder to engage with during the listening part, because they do it for you, which is not the traditional going around and talking to people like a community organizer would do, but they gain the outcome is invaluable data as well. So if you do have that, then under the resources, obviously your under people and information, you will have, under people, probably the organization that promotes that, and information and knowledge will be this open data website, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's something I was meaning as well. Plus, with the point that we actually try to interpret the data ourselves, or provide an interface to the circles to use the data, because usually all those opening of data is very nice and very much appreciated, but actually the big analysis is not there. Sorry. Yeah. So the challenge is to make a relationship between objects and nodes and having meaningful relationships in the data. That's what actually get the analysis out. So the abstraction, well.
Yeah, some organization just open the API and then you have to extract.
And then we have to gather out the data, transform it, and propose it.
Yeah, I mean some organization, there is the place I live in Lithuania, is doing that. Like, is just working on the output of collecting all the open data and APIs. So there are some organizations that do that translation, but you're right, Andrea, most of them just say, okay, yeah, here you go, use them, but we need the technical tool to extract them, which will become quite costly in a way to do. But looking forward and in an ambitious way, we definitely can think about how to integrate that.
Not even, sorry to step in there, but I don't even think it's costly. It's more costly in terms of resources, people that doesn't competence for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
sorry.
meaning.
Sometimes I have my infrastructural perspective. So cost for me, servers, machines, and things like this, and people, engineers. Sorry.
No. How is your hunting for more geeky people going?
Oh, still to start, because Domenico tend to overload me in the background, so I have to learn how to bounce him. It's not easy. Send people, they knock at my door. Well, have you done something about this, Hangout? Okay.
By the way,
sorry. Yeah, well, wait. I was speaking with Orson about the method. Sorry, it's point 3, Domenico.
No. I just want to say that it's healthy if we can stop if we can have a 1-hour session. So maybe just to finish the debate about this new proposal from Ursula, and after that we can go ahead with other things.
Sure.
Meanwhile, we have here Francesco. Welcome,
Hi,
Francesco.
everybody.
Hello.
Hi. Hello, you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so hello, everybody. I'm Francesco. I come from Italy and live in Verona, and I just logged in the CivicWise community, and I'm aiming to make a local secret here. So I've heard everything you said up to now, but I had troubles with the connection, so I couldn't log in with my computer. I was watching it in YouTube, and so nothing, just to present myself. And I work in it's a little city in the north of Italy. I'm trying with other architects to aim some civic participation projects. So I'm very interested in the work of CivicWise, and I met Domenico last weekend and we had a long talk about that. So nothing for now. I will just listen and try to get in conversation about the theme you're talking about now. So thank you very much for letting me in the community.
With Francesco, Mario, and Katia, we had the longer aperitivo in my life, working on this local CivicWise circle. Was very good.
Yes, it was very good, and we really appreciated the method, and it's very interesting because it's something that is not easy to develop when you are. It's easier to develop in a big community like this, so it's very interesting. I hope to have to contribute to the discussion in future.
Francesco, so thanks for your introduction. After, it would be great if we can come back with you and just say something to Athens. But now I want just to. Sorry.
No, I don't want to take time to the conversation. So let's talk about the main.
No, after just at the end, before your arrive, we were talking about our main topic today, but I was also trying to close the first part of the session and keep time to the second part, which is actually dedicated to catch up on different things and stuff that happen around every local circle. So at the end, we can also talk a little bit about your trip to
Okay.
Athens, because I think it's interesting to share all the community.
Yes.
So I was, yeah, so Andrea, Ursula, what do you think about the debate? We need to have some final thoughts, or
For the method. I have just a question for Ursula. Is the point 3 that the rest is gibberish? What I was looking into in the method proposed was, it's not clear to me how there is that, like, the big chunk of project implementation, and then it's like okay, we listen, we engage, we build up, and so on. At a certain point, we start. Well, usually, or usually is a big word, it's nice that if we can iterate towards the goal with small steps, because otherwise we have a big target we want to, and it can be overwhelming also. So maybe we can show an option how we can iterate through those, and eventually after the first iteration we are required to listen again. So we do a big step, it helps us to go through, but then we realize that we are going in the wrong direction and we want to readapt. So we might need to listen again and re-engage again people. So that's what was the meaning of the iteration.
Yeah, it's a good point. So basically between, like, after the project, so basically before the implementation, have an like a iteration phase. Is it before the implementation, after you define the project, right?
Or as a component, I don't know, because imagine the project. Okay, we go. It happened a lot of time. Oh, it happened to me that I tried to go in a direction.
Mm-hmm.
In the real case, I actually realized that, well, the direction was questionable, and I need to realign with the other team members, the community on something to retune the the direction.
Sure.
So,
No, you're absolutely right, and this is a very simplistic, if you look at it properly, method.
no, was just going to contribute.
No,
Also.
no, absolutely.
Not too good.
I think probably because I think the idea of the engagement phase is exactly that. So between the idea, because some people were saying, oh, idea and project, what's the difference? And is concept, like Domenico had at the beginning, create this civic ecosystem, community and platform. But to actually define what the project is, you go through engagement, iteration, all these refined stages. So maybe we can add something to the engagement, like to that stage, because the project, the idea, like at some point you have to, this is what we're going to implement, because obviously that will still mean that you might make, minor changes, but that's something that, in every project you can flexibly cover. But I don't know, do you feel like we could add it in that stage? And also, I mean, for everyone as a general thing, what we could do, because I also think that Domenico is right, we don't want to go ahead too much. It's up on Drive, so what we can do is this week hack it and comment and add and rename and do whatever. So by next week we can just do a 15 minutes recap on the result, or we can discuss it on this course. And everyone, also people who might want to think about it, can add, because I think it's very useful that we observe it and think about it and then come up with something that we're happy, and then that's it, and we don't have to reopen the conversation every week.
So we can do that in methods category of this course. We don't need to search for a new name.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I mean, I posted it in the method, so we can just add up there. I mean, I posted it on opening how we should start a civic design process. I don't know, are you happy there, or shall I move it somewhere else?
I don't know. Maybe it's useful to have a specific conversation. I mean.
Yeah, probably. Okay, I can move it to create a new thread called method, and then I post that there, and we can discuss it and change. How do you feel about it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I can do that then.
So yeah, okay. I was thinking if we need actually maybe a new name. I don't know. Some doubt.
Yeah, I'm not happy with the name. Method toolkit. Shall we also address that in the conversation, or does anyone have any idea now how we can name this?
I like toolkit. Actually, what is very important right now is this approach for local circle, having a toolkit that facilitates the beginning of a local circle. So I like the word toolkit, but
And what about
do you sorry?
Policy toolkit.
Policy.
was do you think it's policy? It's not something different?
I'm not really sure how to define it. That's exactly the problem with the name.
Yes. I'm not sure if we can consider the approach like a policy. It's more a guide, a toolkit. Yeah, I don't know.
I agree on the toolkit. I'm just thinking that what you were saying, Domenico, about a toolkit for the circles, I think it's useful for them because it gives them a way to start, but it's not necessarily connected to the governance of a circle. So we just have to be...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, it's not related with governance. It's just exactly a toolkit that help people that want to start a local circle to have a reference, some example, some document that guides this process, the initial process.
I agree, and also something that it's very useful for them is, and it picks up on what you were saying, Anna, that when they have that, when you start to talk to people, you can actually use their expertise and what you find out during the conversation to feed into that document with specific elements, case studies, past projects. So we create these, you know, archive of information that will organically grow, and by growing, it makes the CivicWise community appealing for new people to join, because they can actually tap into this archive of information, people, contacts, yeah, you name it. And it could also, this is a separate conversation, but just to keep it in mind, it could, in the nearby future, generate, you know, motivation for partnerships, revenue schemes.
Saverio.
Yeah. Yeah, my proposal is to call it a canvas, because I don't know, when I see this kind of schedule, I imagine more something about the business model canvas. Because for me, toolkit is reminds me something different, very, I don't know, practical tools to use, I don't know, or a kind of set, a set of things, different things. Right now, I see a kind of schedule to fill. So I don't know, I look like a canvas on the screen right now. This is my proposal.
I like now it's very popular, not the word canvas. But I like it, canvas, I like it.
Yeah, I like canvas too, because canvas to me has this connotation of non-finished, under construction. It's good. So shall we, you know, move that conversation? Shall I mention that in the post and also say, so, you know, on one hand, hack the document, and on the other, think about the name?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, I'll do that. So same thread, new thread? Because Andrea was saying he's happy with the old one. Domenico was saying a new one. What do the others think?
No, I think if Andrea said that, we can do that.
Okay, I'll keep it
Old
there.
one.
Good.
So we can go ahead. Maybe Anna, would you tell something about how it's going on in Barcelona?
Yeah. Well, in Barcelona we had yesterday our second meeting. We had some new people in the meeting yesterday. Ruben joined. Are you listening to me? Because my internet is kind of going away and coming back. Somebody
Yes,
said,
I do.
please.
Maybe there is some delay, but we can hear you.
Okay. So Ruben, for example, joined the Barcelona Circle recently, which is someone with a long experience in participatory processes. So unluckily, yesterday we were only 4 people. The 4 of us, we were architects. Have to say that it was kind of an architectonical meeting yesterday. And well, we were yesterday. The aim of the meeting was basically to propose different paths for reaching beta projects, or beta projects for starting in summer. So basically, we were discussing 2 topics. The first one is that we were really concerned that this kind of meeting, once in a month or once in every 3 weeks, and dividing the different tasks between the people along the weeks, we agreed that it wasn't working. So because we were not, going forward. So the first thing that we have decided is, as we are only 4 to 8 people normally, to establish a physical place where to work one afternoon a week, trying to move a little bit faster towards a better project. So, because the first idea was to, on the first meeting, everyone said how many hours per week they were committing to dedicate to CivicWise, but in the end it wasn't working properly, so we had decided that the first session probably will be working session, probably will be next week, Monday or Tuesday. And the second thing that we consider that it was pretty urgent was what Ursula just did, that speaking about starting to have some meetings with some possible collaborators or with some possible associations. We really needed a short document, very short, like 4 or 5 slides, so we can, in a quick way, explain what is CivicWise, who is in CivicWise, and what do we offer, what do we do. So, for example, one of the first things that we were talking about developing in this first working session was this document. We wanted this document to be pretty fast, just to be able to use it, let's say, as a almost picture behind us when we are talking and speaking about it, and trying to introduce CivicWise. And the third topic, we were well, there were another 2 really, how to reach ideas or reach projects that are really needed, and the kind of projects, because we were really willing to go into action fast. We are trying to be really aware of the resources we have currently in Barcelona. So we are for 5 to 8 people working full-time in different places that are committing that in the case that we have a project to go ahead with, we can dedicate more hours to it. But while we get that project, the real situation is that it's not going to be possible. So thinking in that path, we started to look around and trying to find interesting people in Barcelona that were doing interesting research about citizen problems or city design problems. So for the moment, we have concluded that there are 2 groups that we consider that will be really interesting to meet with. One is the one that I said before, which is Barcelona Digital, which is a group of 5 young people that are currently analyzing the data from Open Data Barcelona. They are analyzing that data because they are solving traffic issues. So it was said that maybe we can propose a collaboration, said that why them, that they have the resources, analyze not only the traffic data, but some other data that we can be interested in. That was one path. Another path that was proposed was why don't we go in the town hall budgets and go to the different chapters that really demonstrate that they have found a problem, but they have money approved for it, but they don't have still focus on a particular way to solving it. And the third way was to speaking with a couple of groups of architects in Barcelona that have been working for the last 5 years with participatory design processes with the citizens, because Barcelona, one of the main concerns is that Barcelona is a city in which citizenship is quite used to take part in this kind of processes. So obviously they have learned in what kind of participatory processes they are interested in and in which kind they are not. So there were we were just, I'm trying just to summarize everything. Last year, for example, there were a couple of participatory processes from the town hall to the citizenship to decide a couple of things, and there was a total rejection of these processes because they were top-down processes. And being the citizens of Barcelona, citizens that are kind of well educated in this kind of thing, they'll obviously realize that were not real participatory processes or well designed, methodologically well designed participatory processes, let's say. So that was a big concern. Like, we are in a city with experience in this kind of processes, so citizenship is not new to this kind of situations. And there was a fourth point that already was solved in this course, that was how are we going to get some finance for developing this kind of project. So some options were said, like should the Kickstarter crowdfunding be for the whole CivicWise, or for example, if we get some beta projects, should it be also for some particular beta projects? I think someone said already about it something in this course. And then there was a competition that is open now from the town hall that is called, if you translate it, something like empty square neighborhoods in the city. It's called Plabuits, and it's the second time the town hall is doing this competition. It's a competition in which groups of people, associations, studios, it doesn't matter, they can propose things to do during 3 years in empty spaces in the city, and the town hall will finance them. They can be social projects, they can be design projects, they can be educating projects, and we agreed in having a look at the basis of this competition and trying to find out if it may fit with the CivicWise method, let's say. And so, well, that's the main stuff we talk about. We are really enthusiastic about getting a really nice project to work on soon. And it's really funny because we all in the group are really action people. And for us, I don't know if you agree, it was really interesting that there was a parallel work. The theoretical work that is done in Slack and Discourse, Hangout, etc., and also in parallel soon some beta projects. So people is willing to start working, really. And the other concern that we had yesterday was that unlikely we were for architects. So we were missing some extra skills from other fields that we had. For example, in the first meeting, that there was Anna, that was a specialist in environmental resources, or Ari, that was a special in design thinking. And so we hope they will be back because we are really missing skills from abroad our fields. I mean, we are 4 architects specialized in 4 different fields, but we are a quite homogeneous group, I think, in that sense.
Wow, that's really amazing, the work you've done. It's great to hear that. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, we are really willing to start to work, because because of the current situation in Barcelona this day, we do really think that this is a place for a beta project that can work really good.
Great. So shall we have other updates? So maybe Francesco, you can say something about your trip to Athens.
Okay. Next week I'm going to Athens. I planned it before meeting Domenico and stuff, but I was planned. The thing is that I'm going to see this exhibition, Adocracy Athens. I don't know if anybody knows about that. It's maybe many of you knows that. It's very linking the page, and it's about adaptive systems, adaptive informal organization that uses the legs of formal organizations, and the, as an edition in Istanbul and London too. So I was planning to go there to visit the exhibition, and then came out that there is the possibility to have to make an interview with one of the curators, Panos Dragonas, and for the magazine of CivicWise. So I think it's a nice opportunity, and also there are a couple of workshops in the days I will be there. So one is quite interesting because it's about making a zine, a fanzine, in a participatory way. So maybe for the magazine would be good to have a report about that. So I was thinking that maybe there are some advices or some things that we can focus on the interview. Comes maybe they may come from you, from the Hangout, from the community. So maybe I think that if in the next days or today too, you can write me, or we can talk in Slack in the application, and to know maybe there are something that comes to your mind to ask to the curator of the exhibition. And so, what do you think about?
Yeah, Francesco, we can use also the discourse. Maybe you can
Yes.
post
Okay. I can post
the
some discourse.
the general category. You can post some.
Yes. Okay, I will generate a discourse about the Adocracy Athens. Okay, the name.
Yeah.
And so
So after
anybody,
that, we
I will
can
explain
tweet
a
it and we can share with all the community.
yes. Okay. Um, and I don't know. We were talking with Domenico also to maybe have a little hangout with the curator. I asked him if he's available to this. When maybe I don't know. Do you think it could be a good thing or what? If he's disposed, we can go there and 20 minutes, half an hour. I don't know. Just meet all the community.
So, okay, we will wait for your news and share with us the link of your post on Discourse, and we will see.
Okay.
What else?
Domenico,
We
should we also talk about the competitions?
well, let's
Because
share
you
with us what.
Yeah, there are two. Yeah, I think or European or international competitions. Domenico had the links in on Slack in the general part. So I think we have the opportunity to participate with something that it's similar, with a proposal that it's similar maybe to the last competition we delivered. So proposing the platform and proposing the civic space, try to make a prototype of it. I can of course read better the two calls, and I don't know, maybe on Slack, or tell me if I need to use the discourse open I don't know, space where we, if someone wants, we can write down a proposal.
I think the better way to write down a proposal is using Google Drive. You can start with a document and start work on this document, and you share the link with the rest of the community on Slack. And if you want, also, yeah, also by Discourse if you want, but Slack is okay.
Perfect. In the general part, you mean, or a separate one, specific as I don't know, competition, something like that?
So far, we don't have a competition folder. I think we have finance. I think in finance we have the rest of the competition we applied for, so you can use that one.
Okay, I'm not seeing.
And by the way, finance, I think, or funding, I don't know, I don't remember right now.
Not in Slack.
Ah, no, okay, you're sorry. In Slack, yeah, you can share. First of all, you can share the link in general, because
and then
all of us, we can, yeah, and then we, you know, you can even create an ephemeral circle. So so you can create, yeah. So you while you are working on the project, you can communicate in that circle by Slack, and when you finish, you delete it.
Okay.
By the way, Jonathan is also working on a proposal for the Rotterdam Architecture Biennale.
Ah.
Yes.
Nice.
So, yeah. So he's working on a proposal, and in someday he will share with all of us the document, so you can use also what Jonathan is is doing. I don't know if you have any other update. I can just share with you, yeah, some news. As Francesco said, I was in Italy, and I had the occasion to talk about CivicWise in Verona, which is his city. But I was also in Padua, where I had the occasion to present CivicWise in a very interesting co-working space, which has a very similar approach than we are proposing with our project Civic Space. So we create a very good connection with them, and so it's the community is growing, and what is interesting is that we have some very powerful people working locally and with very interesting projects. And we are also some news from Berlin. There is Melissa. She is starting a new local circle in Berlin. So this is a very great news, because Berlin is also a very exciting city right now with a lot of things happening. So let's see what we can do in Berlin. So if there is any of you, CivicWise community interested in joining Melissa in this local group, is more than invited.
Okay. I don't know. In Berlin, there is Carlo Venegoni.
Carlo Venegoni, where?
In Berlin.
He's in Berlin?
Yeah. So it can be.
I didn't know. Good.
Can be helpful for her.
Yeah, of course.
Do you suggest his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is he?
So maybe we have to. It's a guy he's from Bologna, but he's a researcher in Politecnico di Milano. He's an architect, and his research field is related with the participatory process, especially if I remember properly, is dedicated to public space and participatory process. I don't know. I am wrong. Saverio, did you know more?
About, I didn't understand the name.
About Venegoni?
Carlo Venegoni?
Carlo Venegoni. Maybe I am mixing people.
I don't know anything about the teaching aspects.
It's okay. It's alright. I just thought, you know, it would be someone I should know or something. It's okay. Cool. Yeah, but I agree. Berlin is a really exciting city because it's very
anyway,
viral.
I think
good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite late. Maybe we need to close the session. For the final part, we have to think about the next session, which topic we will work next week. No. By the way, no. Next week is already decided. I think, because last week we talked about principles, and we said that next week we will come back with the principles. So maybe we can stay with that.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sounds good. So, okay. So in terms of final tasks, to publish a minute of the session. So I can do that, but maybe if you also you can when you can write the discourse post. Do you think you can do tomorrow? Because I can use it for the minute.
Yeah, what do you want me to write in the post? Just a brief introduction, because I posted before the Hangout just, you know, a very brief description, like the London Circle did that. But do you want me to actually explain? I don't know. Like when the first time you looked at the sketch, was it self-explanatory, or is there loads to explain to understand it that you think it might be useful on this course?
I think it's quite self-explained, but what we need is a sort of introduction. Why you are proposing that, and what we want to achieve. It just
Yeah.
and yeah, maybe
And call to action.
Yeah, talk about the discussion we had about the name and.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah, I can do that tomorrow. Yeah, I should be able to do that tomorrow. Yeah.
So when you do that, please tell me, because I can, after that I can use it for the minute, and then for the post.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do that.
So other information tomorrow at 1 we will have our governance meeting. So any of you is invited.
What time is the meeting?
At 1.
At 1. Okay.
1.
Oh, it's. No.
I should be able to join. Yeah.
I'm not able.
No problem. You know, it's a specific circle job, so it's not. Don't be how you say that. Don't be pressure. No, how you say that. Don't be.
Don't feel pressure.
Don't be. Yeah,
Yes.
don't feel pressure. Yeah.
Can I make a question just because
Yeah.
I'm a little new and is there a schedule of all these appointments on the, maybe in the Google Docs or in the discourse for the appointments, or is just every circle gives you the appointment for the next?
But so far, what we have is the weekly session, and any Wednesday, which is each week at the same time. So if you follow us on Google Plus, you will receive the invitation for the session.
Up to now, I had the old invitations. I was wondering if there is a global schedule everybody can.
Not really. We have to. Yeah, we started work on it with Ursula about having a calendar, but it's not. Yeah, so far it's not very clear, and we have just some information there.
Okay.
And
The Hangout is the main regular meeting.
Every Wednesday. Okay.
If there is, like, let's put it this way, if there is one thing you can attend, it would be the Hangout, because that's when we discuss about more things.
yeah,
Right.
the rest of things is important for you to select any circle you are interested in, and just join the Slack group, and you will receive there the information about. So, by the way, after next week with the Ursula proposal, I think would be useful to start to work on this proposal with a new circle. Should be the metal circle or a new one, but it's important to start to work on it.
Well, shouldn't every local circle work on it, as in filling the information then? Because I mean, we don't want to keep changing the structure once we have it, because then local circles might work on it, and then if one circle changes, then the others might use the old one, then it becomes messy, doesn't it?
Yes, I agree, but I think maybe we need to document it. I don't know. I think when I mean work on it, we need to have some document where, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but
well, I think it's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. Document as in having like a final thing that we feel happy about sharing, and then every single yeah, no, you're right. Maybe 1-2 sessions of method circle, or I wouldn't necessarily create a circle. We can just, you know, put together some like a group of people that are interested in working on that, and once it's done, it's over. Because I think if we create a circle, then it gives the impression that it's gonna go on, whereas I think it's something that we do, and once it's done.
You even can use the method circle. It's okay.
Yeah. No, you're right. Maybe in the post in this course, I will also mention, you know, once we have the structure we're happy with, there will be some, you know, polishing up to do. Who is interested in working on that? And then we put together a team and we work on it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll mention that.
And I think after that we can leave the local circle just to use. Yeah. So I don't know. There is something else, or we can close the session.
No, just one question. I will do the new discourse about the magazine. Okay, I will put it in the magazine topic.
Okay.
And I don't know. I just asked this because I never did this, so sounds maybe dumb, but just to not to do things correctly. We'll make a little introduction about and I'll put the link of the exhibition, okay? And just then I don't know, maybe on the Slack too, I will publish it, okay?
Yeah, you can share of the Slack. Yeah, when you published on this course, maybe you can share the link on Slack.
Okay.
Just to be sure that the rest of us read.
Okay.
Yeah, if you publish some pictures on Twitter, on social, on Facebook, something like that, remember to tag the CivicWise profile.
Yes.
So I will be very fast to retweet it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I think I'll get I will be connect, so we can talk in Slack also live, during also the day of the interview. So and then the good thing will be to participate to this workshop on Sunday. That is a workshop by the bibliothèque of the Library of Athens about zine, about fanzine. Maybe I think for the how to make one, no, how to make fanzine. So it can be good for the magazine. So I focus the discourse on that. There will be people who because I never did a magazine. I wrote a few things, so I don't have this much experience. So maybe people with more experience on the Slack, on the community, will give me some.
We are all of us. We are learning, Francesco. Don't worry. There is no fear.
Okay.
Domenico, you have always a good word for everybody. Yeah.
So with that, we can close the session, I think.
You are tired, huh?
Ouais.
It's a good way.
Ouais. So see you next week.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, everyone. See you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.